Well, this morning I want to introduce you to a man who has some unique perspective as to what is happening in our country right now. Dr. David Thomas is a forensic studies professor at FGCU, but before that he was a police officer for 20 years. And I wanted to get his insight as to what's happening in our country right now.
There is a loyalty that there is expected because you're a law enforcement officer. And then there's also that loyalty because you're Black. And in there, you have to find that hybrid.
Now, there have been a lot of conversations recently about if racial bias exists within police departments in our country. Dr. Thomas has done some research on police encounters within the Black community and talked to 100 different officers. He shared some of his insight with me. Take a listen.
And the officers were very frank, and they talked about their heightened sense of when they're dealing with Black subjects. Race did play a role in how they treated people. Race did play a role in their readiness, so to speak, so that when they're having to interact with people, their stance and posture was different than it was with somebody else.
Now, I want you to take a listen to this. Dr. Thomas also explained one example from when he was an officer in Gainesville, when one of his fellow officers pulled over an African-American man.
A 65-year-old man got stopped, and he's crippled. He doesn't have his driver's license on him, so the officer handcuffs him and searches him. And I'm sitting there thinking, would you want somebody to do this to your dad? He's 65 years old, he's crippled. Hell, all you got to do is have him stand on the side of the road and have me come and just sit and talk to him while you go do whatever you're going to do. And he had every right to search the car. There was nothing wrong with the search, but it's the idea that he felt compelled that he had to handcuff him. I have worked the west side of the town where people are wanted on felony armed robbery warrants and the suspect is white. And they will search the car. They will arrest them. They will search the car. If there's no contraband in the car, they will either leave it at the scene or they will have allow somebody to come pick up the car so that the car doesn't get towed. So there is two different perspectives.
Now, I spent an hour interviewing Dr. Thomas about his perspective on what's happening in our country. I asked you on Facebook what questions you had for him. So tomorrow morning on Fox 4 Morning News, I'll be sharing that conversation, including what he says needs to happen next and what's giving him hope.